But yeah, so everything here you'll keep. This is all yours. All right. So the first thing I want to show you is the pump. Here it is. It's called the Infinity Pump. If you look right there, very compact, as you can see. This thing's pretty simple. I think you'll be surprised at how simple it is. The good thing is I can set this up for you, right, as far as the settings, so you don't have to do it later. Okay. But I'll still show you
How to
regardless.
set it up.
Yeah, for sure. The pump comes with two things. Your charger and then your clamp, which is for the pump to attach to the pole, okay? In here, these boxes, we have the formula, right, the nutrition, okay? Let me show these to you real quick. So it's called the Isosource 1.5. That's the formula name. And in these boxes here, we have these cartons. And these cartons, there are 24 in each case. I bought you 48 of them. These are good at room temperature, okay? And that's where you want them. So they're fine just sitting in here or, you know, in there, the pantry, wherever you want them. That's where you want them, okay? So anything going down the feeding tube, you want at room temperature.
Okay.
Formula, water, all at room temp, okay? If you do have a little bit of the formula left over, right? Let's say you cracked it open, but you didn't use all of it, you could put that into the fridge.
Okay.
Okay, from that point, they're good for 24 hours, but take it out, let it get to room temp before you use it again,
Okay.
okay? And then we'll get into how much you're gonna be using, okay? But this is the formula right here. Put this right here. Let's get this pole up and ready. That should be good enough. And then going back to here, so this is your clamp. This is basic stuff. Just goes right there. This little wheel will get the clamp on or off the pump, or the pump on or off the clamp. You just screw it in. That's it.
And that's not the clamp to make sure it's clamped when flushing. That's a different one.
Yeah, yep. So this can go really anywhere you want to. It can go up here, it can go right here. I would say about right here is good. And you just twist it on until it's nice and secure. Okay, so I'll turn it back. Just like that. And then the charger goes in the only place where it can, which is right there. Okay, this is battery powered. So we recommend leaving it plugged in 24/7.
Okay.
Okay, so that way, if you want to move this around the house, take it outside for a stroll, it's got battery life. Okay, and the battery life's pretty long. It's about 16 to 18 hours. Okay, so it's gonna last you pretty much all day. Okay, and if it's completely dead, it takes about 6 hours for it to be fully charged. Now that doesn't mean you have to wait 6 hours to use it. You can just plug it in, it's gonna start right up. Okay. Questions so far?
So good.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get this plugged in. We'll use just use that one there. All right, green light should turn on. There we go. All right, now let's get you guys as close as possible. We're gonna plug this in. It may turn on by itself. Let's see if it does. Sometimes it does. Oh, there it goes. Pop open the lid there. Let me get the sticker off. I know in some Vantages, it's kind of hard to see, it's kind of dim. Everything look okay though?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know the letters are kind of small too, but right there at the very top is your on-off button. Self-explanatory, right? That's how you turn it on, that's how you turn it off. You just gotta hold it down, so let me just do that real quick. Hold it down, turn it off, hold it down. Once you hear the beep, you can let go, okay? Now, the first button here, right, is the rate dose button. Okay, so it's the rate button and the dose button. It's the same button, okay? Now, if you hit it, as you can see, right, it says rate. If you hit this, it goes to the dose, and it just goes back and forth. Okay, and like I said earlier, I can program this for you so you don't have to do it later. Okay, so that's exactly what we're gonna do now, okay? Now, the orders that we have for the rate are, I think it's 83 milliliters, okay? So you see your plus and your minus keys, that will get you up or down, right? Since we're at 0, we're going to use the plus key and we're going to get up to 83, okay? So we're going to hold this. Now, you see that decimal point there? Don't make the mistake of doing this, right? Where it's 8.3, right?
Okay.
You don't want to do that. Keep going, and you'll get to your whole numbers, and it goes pretty fast, right? We're already at 20, 30, right? And it goes pretty fast once you're holding it down. So we're going to use a minus key to get us back to 83. There it is. And
So
that's
it
set.
always has to stay on 83.
For now, yes.
Okay.
If it does change, you guys will know.
Okay.
You'll get orders from the doctor saying, hey, increase it to 90. All you gotta do is go to your plus key to get to 90. Once you have it to where you want, you don't gotta press anything else. It's set. So we'll leave it to 83, okay? Now we wanna set the dose, right? So we're gonna click our rate dose button. Now this, guys, the dose is always gonna be the same no matter what, okay? We're gonna set this to infinity, hence the name of the pump, okay? We're gonna hold down the plus key. It's the very last setting for the dose.
Okay.
You're gonna see it's gonna say INF, okay? There it is. Now this, again, this will never change. So really the only thing that could change is your rate,
Okay.
right? It could decrease, it could increase, whatever they want. But now this is set. So if I shut it off, I turn it back on, those settings will appear for you again,
Okay.
okay? Any questions?
Not for now.
Okay. I always bring an extra bag for teaching and then some formula to give you a better visual, okay? All these formulas look about the same.
And one more.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. So here is the bag straight out of the package. Okay, this is what the formula is gonna go into. Okay, as you can see, right, it's a pretty large bag. Your cap here, nothing to it, you just pop it on, right? You don't have to overexert, you don't have to twist it on too hard, it goes on and off very easily, okay? Couple things to note, all right, and this is important. First is that these bags are good for a full 24 hours, okay? So it's one bag for each day.
Okay.
Now, the orders that we have are for a 20-hour continuous feed. So he's not doing a full 24 hours, he's only doing 20 hours. So after it's been used for that full 20, you can just take this and you can just throw it away,
Okay.
okay? You can throw away everything. Each bag comes with the same things, okay?
It's a complete set.
What's that?
It's a complete set.
Yes, complete set. Exactly. Yep. The second thing, and this is important, it's for the formula, right? Any formula sitting in this bag has a max hang time of 12 hours. Okay, now that does affect you guys, okay, because you're doing a 20-hour continuous feed. All right. Now, the best way to go about it is you have to split your feed directly in half. Okay, it's kind of confusing, but I'm glad you're recording. Okay, so again, he's doing a 20-hour continuous feed.
Okay.
What I would do, split that in half. So essentially 2 10-hour feeds. Okay, now he's using for that 20-hour feed a total of 7 of these cartons. Okay, now I wish you had an even number, but you don't. Okay, so you would do 3.5 of these poured into here. That's gonna last you 10 hours. And then another 3.5 for your last 10 hours. Does that make sense? Okay, okay. So that's exactly what you will do. Try to measure out a half. Those cartons are about 250 milliliters. So half, is about 125. I would measure that out somehow. Okay? But that's really complicated at first probably, but does it make sense though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then on that subject of the 10-hour feeds, right, the time period, I would say most of the time patients start a little bit later in the evening, so that way that 10-hour period takes them to a good time in the morning, right? But is someone going to be here 24/7 with him, or
Yeah.
is it just
Yeah.
okay? So maybe that doesn't really matter all that much, but maybe just you know, a good point to make. Okay, let's show you a good demonstration. So again, I always bring an extra bag for teaching. And then just some other formula. Now these cartons will always tell you shake them up before you pop them in, okay? So we're gonna take this, let's pretend I shook it up. We're gonna pour this into here. Cause Ryan, this is all set for you guys, so this is what you're gonna be doing once he's here, right? That alarm going off, it's gone off 2 times now. It's going off because the pump's on, but we're not doing anything with it. Okay, so do you see the run pause button
Yeah.
right there? You hit that, you temporarily pause the pump. Okay, and you set a 2-minute timer, and that's all it is 2 minutes. Okay, it's kind of annoying. All right, but yeah, this is what you guys will be doing. Getting your bag out. Let's pour a little bit more in here. Right, we'll pretend this is 3.5. Actually, let's leave that right there. And let's put it on, okay? So we're gonna put our cap on. Now, from your guys' vantage looking at the pump, the bag goes to the right-hand side. Always to the right, okay? Because we call this the cassette. The cassette from this side flows right into the pump. Okay, now you see how far this droops down, right? We're gonna lower this just a tad. That's perfect. Okay, now, right, this is good space in between your pump and your bag right here. Okay, now the cassette will flow right into the pump. This part will go into this slot, nice and flush. Okay, this hand will hold it in while your other hand stretches that rubber band around the motor.
Okay.
Okay, now to take it off, it's really simple. If you come towards it and you pull this towards you, it just snaps right off. Now, did you want to try? I can hold your phone for you if you want to give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, a little further. Yep, just a little more towards the left, Cat. Yeah, so just a little further to the left a little bit. Yep, perfect. And then while it's sitting in there, use one hand to hold it in, and then use your other hand to wrap that rubber band. Just like that. Yep, and then, yep, you just pull it towards you, snaps right off.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Do you want to give it a try?
Yep.
Okay. I can hold your phone. And you don't have to be from behind the pump like I am. You can be in front of it. That's just how I like to teach. Perfect. And then to pull it off, yeah, just pull that towards you. Yep. Easy. You are. Yeah, so we'll go back in here. All right, put this on. There we go. Okay. Now, when we close the lid, we should hear a clicking noise. That's how we know we did it right. Okay. Now, right, pretend this is 3.5. Our settings are already programmed. You don't have to worry about that. You see all of this empty space. This is all air, and we want to push this formula all the way through to the end. Okay. Usually, this purple cap will come like this. Just take this off. Okay. Now, there's a button on here called the prime button. Do you see that? It says prime. Yeah, it's kind of small. It's right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So that's the button that we have to push to get this formula all the way through. Okay? So we're gonna hold this prime button down, and there it goes.
We press once.
No, you gotta hold it down. Yeah, so if I let go, it just stops.
Okay.
So you gotta continue to hold it.
Uh-huh.
And again, we just wanna see a droplet or two come out of this tip. Once we see that, we're good to go. Okay? It's kind of slow, but it's not too bad. And then we'll just spew it out into that little carton there.
So once it reaches that, it automatically just like comes out on its own. You don't have to hold that prime button.
No. So once we do see it come out of here,
Mm-hmm.
we can then connect it to the patient's feeding tube, and then we can begin.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's it. Okay. Whenever you are going to be priming the tube, like how we are now, priming the bag, always make sure this is disconnected first.
Oh.
Okay.
You
Okay.
don't want this attached to his feeding tube and you hit prime. Okay. Because you could get some air into him.
Oh.
Okay. So again, we're gonna hit prime here. Right? Just a droplet or two, doesn't have to be specific. Just as long as you see it coming out,
Mm-hmm.
this thing's good to go. There it is. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now this is ready to be connected to his feeding tube.
Okay.
Okay? Now, before we do that, I'm gonna put this right here for now. And just drape it over. I wanna talk about flushing and then connection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now,
Ramesh is cooking cereals on the stove. Lunch.
What is he cooking?
Whatever. I'm fine.
so this syringe here would also see something real quick. So flushing, right? I know that he's not here right now,
Mm-hmm.
but it looks like you do have some experience with tube feeding. You have some people experienced here. So they should know how to flush a patient's feeding tube, okay? And so what we mean by flush is we mean water, right? Room temp water, drinking water, okay? So this syringe is a 60 mil syringe. Okay, so what you would do if you can visualize for a second, you'll suck up about, I would say at minimum, 60 mils of water. And you always want to flush his feeding tube before you start the tube feeding.
Okay.
Okay, so visualize for a second, right? You get this syringe connected to his feeding tube, and you just like that. You just plunge it down until it's done. Okay. Now the flushes you'll want to do pretty much around the clock. Okay, you're not doing it every hour. You're not doing it every 2 hours. I would say about every 6 hours. Flush his feeding tube. Okay, they should have that information there, right? As when he gets discharged, the instructions and when to flush. But a minimum of 60 mils flush about every 6 hours. Okay, that's about 4 times daily. Okay, which is not hard at all. Okay, if you even wanted to, you could do every 4 to 6 hours. Okay, and then, so I just wanted to kind of briefly explain that. Next thing I want to talk about is connection. Okay, I think which for you guys will be a little bit more important probably, how to connect it to his feeding tube. Okay, now as you can see, this syringe here has these little grooves, right? Okay, it's the same connection as the end of this feeding bag, right? So if you've never seen a feeding tube before, feeding tubes they either come as a screw-in connection, right? Where this and this will screw in, like you twist it in to the feeding tube, okay? Or a feeding tube requires, pop this open here. A feeding tube will require this type of connection, right? Where you need this little adapter piece to twist on to the end of this syringe or the end of this feeding bag. And instead of screwing into the feeding tube, it just pops in.
Okay.
Okay? Now, again, it's hard because he's not here, but if you can visualize, when you see his feeding tube, okay, and you pop open the top, if it looks like this, right, you see there's a circle, there's something in the middle there, right? If it looks like that from your view, he requires a screw-in connection. Okay, so pretend this is his feeding tube, where this and your feeding bag line will just screw in to his feeding tube. Okay, you just unscrew it. Connect your syringe, you just screw it in. Okay, simple as that. All right. If you go to open up his feeding tube and there's nothing but a hole, right? If you open up that top and it's just a clear hole, you need this adapter, okay? Where it kind of just pops in. I describe it like a friction fit. You just kind of snug it in till you feel it's nice and secured, okay? And this piece can go to this syringe or the actual feeding bag. And again, you just connect it to his tube, right? Kind of hard to visualize, but does that make sense though?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm glad you're recording, okay? But yeah, it's either a screw-in connection or you just need this little part to pop in, okay? We'll put that over here for now. But once you have, right, once you flushed his feeding tube, once you determine the connection, right, you can connect this to his tube and then you can hit the run pause button to start, okay? So if I hit that,
I have a question.
yeah. You see the droplets though?
Yeah.
Okay? And then if you look here on the screen, it says the word run.
Yeah.
There's a little wheel that's turning. That lets you know that the pump is going, it started.
Okay.
Okay? If you want to pause it, right? Let's say he has to go to the restroom or something happens. It's the same button. So if you hit it, that little icon that you saw disappears from the screen and now it's paused. Okay? Just come back, start it again.
Okay.
Okay? Question?
The question is about on flashing. So
Yeah.
when you are flashing, so that means this is connected to the feeding tube. So you have to disconnect this,
Yeah.
and then you fix this to the feeding tube,
Yes.
and then you pull.
So, great question.
Yeah.
So yes, you'll have to, this will be connected to the tube, so you'll have to disconnect this to connect your syringe.
Okay.
But you're already gonna have the syringe filled with water,
Okay.
right?
Before you flash.
Before you flush.
Okay.
Yes. So you're gonna put your water into a container, right? You're gonna get into your container, you're gonna suck up that water, connect it to the feeding tube, and then plunge that water down.
So now if you flash, then that water will go inside the body. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
It'd be like us drinking from the mouth.
All right.
Same concept. It just goes through a feeding tube
Okay.
and it goes directly into his belly, into his stomach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not only for cleaning out the feeding tube, but it's also for hydration.
Okay.
But I would say as equally as important, it cleans out the feeding tube.
So that's why you said it should be like after every 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
About every 6 hours minimum. But if you want to be more conservative, more safe, you can do every 4 to 6 hours.
Okay.
But I would say that's totally fine. That's doable too.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, good question though.
All right.
Yeah. But that's everything. The settings are there for you already. So to summarize it again, you're going to be pouring in, right, your 3.5 cartons to start your 10-hour feed. You're going to prime the formula all the way through until the very end. 60 milliliters of water flushes feeding tube. Then you can connect this and then start. Okay. Now, I do like to demonstrate the alarms that this pump can give you. So if you wanted to stop your recording and start a new one, you totally can, or if you want to keep it rolling, it's up to you. Okay, but any questions on how to prime it? Because that's really what you're doing. You're just pouring in your cartons and then priming it. Any questions at all though?
So far, so good for me.
Okay,
My question is medication.
yeah, okay.
How do we administer that?
Same way with flushing. Same way. So you'll get that, right? The meds you'll want to crush up. Okay? You'll crush them up as fine as you can. You'll mix them with about 30 mils of water, and then you'll suck it up into that syringe. Same thing. Connect it to his feeding tube, plunge it down into him.
Okay.
Yeah. Same thing. Same thing. Yeah.
So from his belly now, do you have a bag like this or what's there, which is connected to this tube?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen the patient, but
Okay.
normally he should have, I describe it as a dangly feeding tube. It's just like, right, this tube that sticks out in the stomach, where this connects to.
Okay.
Simple as that. Simple as that. Okay.
Okay.
So let's demonstrate the alarms. Okay. Are you guys the main caregivers during the day?
Yeah.
And then there's maybe 2 at night?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me demonstrate the alarms that this pump can give you, okay? We'll set this to its max. I'll set it back to 83 once I'm done, okay? I just want this to go down as quickly as it can. There's 2 alarms that you have to watch out for, okay? Let's hit run here. Okay. So the first one is going to be the alarm that tells you that your feed is done. Okay, so this pump will alert you when that first 3.5 cartons is complete, right? It should take you about 10 hours, okay? But this thing will beep at you, okay? And that alarm is called the no food alarm, meaning no more food, it's empty, right? You're gonna hear it beep at us, and then you'll see the words no food on the screen, okay? What you'll see is this bag's gonna be completely empty. This top portion of your line is going to be empty. It usually stops about right here. Okay? While it's doing that, let me show you everything else. Okay? So you have the 2 cases of the formula. You have the syringe here. These syringes are good for 1 week. Okay? So you can keep reusing this. Okay? These adapter pieces are also good for 1 week. Okay? You'll get more of these. All right, but I would limit it to a week for both. Throw it out after that. Okay, so you have these, and again, these adapter pieces can go on to the end of this syringe and the feeding bag. Okay. We have split sponges and a roll of tape. Since he's not here, right? I won't even bother explaining this to you. I think it will just confuse you, but he may require this. Okay. Just some paperwork stuff here. We'll go over this at the very end. We have more feeding bags. So you guys have 7 in here to start. 7 will last you 7 days, so a week, okay? And then this last piece, I'll briefly explain. But as you can see by the red sticker, it's the gravity bag for emergency use, okay? Basically, this bag doesn't need a pump in order to use it, okay? It can simply hang up on an IV pole and the formula will trickle, right, with the help of gravity. It will trickle to the patient's feeding tube, okay? Just leave it at that, all right? It's really in the event of like, if your pump is not charged, right, you forgot to leave it plugged in and the power goes out, you need something to use, that could be your go-to, okay? But I wouldn't really worry about it too much. But all those supplies, you guys will get monthly. Okay, check it out. No food, right?
Mm-hmm.
Check it out, we're done. Right, we got some residual here, but that's fine. Stop right there. Okay. Now, if you're done with that 20-hour feed, right, you can just take this bag with this little bit of remaining formula in here, you can just throw it out. Okay? But if you know you have another 10 hours to go, you gotta pour in your next 3.5 cartons and a little quiz time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think you have to do to fill up this empty space and to get this formula out? There's a button on here that we push.
Prime.
Prime, yes. Exactly.
So you said the bag needs to be changed after every 20 hours?
20 hours.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so don't confuse that with 10 hours, because I've
Yeah.
had that happen before,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause
Okay.
you're gonna run, if you do that, you're gonna run out of bags very quickly,
Right.
right? So you can pour in your next 3.5.
Just a funny question.
Yeah.
So this patient will only feed on this. Or
The formula,
uh-huh.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he's doing anything by mouth.
Okay.
He may, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but majority of his calories will be from the tube feed.
Okay.
Probably all of it. Yeah. Right. Another thing too that you guys can do
Mm-hmm.
is if you see this getting low,
Mm-hmm.
instead of waiting for it to finish and getting this alarm,
Mm-hmm.
right, what you could do is you can, if you see it getting low,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and pour in your next 3.5
Okay.
and let it continue to run. So that way you don't have to do that priming all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably what I would do. Question?
Yeah, I have a question. So
Yeah.
like now the way you set 83, so that means 83 when it is flowing it has to take 10 hours.
Yeah.
So then if we add then it will take another 10 hours. Okay,
Then we change
that's
the
great.
bag.
And then you change the bag.
Yep. Yep. But what you can do, right? Again, if you see it getting low,
Mm-hmm.
just pour in your next 3.5.
Okay, we
Let
don't
it
have to
continue
wait.
run. So that way you don't have to pour in, right, at 3.5, you have to prime all over again.
Mm-hmm.
I would just do that. That's probably what I would do.
So
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
okay. Now let's say after 20 hours, so we are changing the bag.
Yeah.
So should I switch off or what should I do?
After the 20 hours.
Uh-huh.
So let's pretend,
From-
right,
Uh-huh.
this is 20 hours right here. We're just gonna take this bag,
Uh-huh.
right, disconnect this from this feeding tube, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Take this,
Out.
throw it away.
Okay, then I fix the next one.
Yep, put on a new
So you
bag.
don't have to switch off this.
What's that?
You don't have to switch off this.
No,
Okay.
no.
So you just put the new bag, you pour your food in there, and then you turn it on
You
until
prime.
it drips. If you see a few drops, then you connect it to the tube.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then how often do you clean the side?
Talking about the pump, or are you talking about, oh, the site?
The side, yeah. the
Oh,
side.
okay. Yeah, great question. Just depends on how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends on how it looks. Right, where that tube's going into his stomach,
Mm-hmm.
they call it a stomacite. So if that, you could get some like oozing, it's the best way to describe it, that comes out of that little stomacite. Just pay attention to it, right? I don't know how long he's had the feeding tube. I imagine he's had it for, I would say maybe a few weeks now,
Mhm.
maybe a month. It should be nice and clean and healed. Just pay attention to it though, okay? It probably looks good right now, but just best advice, just pay attention to it, look at it. To clean it, you can get a Q-tip, something that's small. You can do like maybe dab it in some alcohol, some water, and just clean it. Just get behind that area as best as you can.
Mm.
But otherwise, it should look pretty good. Yeah.
So another funny question
Yeah.
is about this patient now with this situation. When it comes to like showering,
Mhm.
should he maybe or she have what we call the bed bath or what?
Like showering with the
And
tube.
what happens then if
With the tube,
uh-huh.
you can get the tube wet,
Uh-huh.
but you can't get it drenched. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if he's real mobile or not. From what I've heard, I think he is, but I'm not sure. So if he's able to take a shower by himself, maybe he won't be able to, but I'm not sure. But just as long as he's not getting it drenched, right? He's not just standing under the shower head and letting it just soak onto his tube. It's gonna be all right. No bathing, right? Don't submerge it and let it submerge in water. You don't want to do that. Just cover it up as best as you can and then bathe him. Okay. What you can do, and I've often recommended this, is saran wrap. Believe it or not, saran wrap, just kind of pack it on, right? Make sure it's not getting wet too much, and then bathe.
Do you separate that?
The saran wrap? No.
Okay.
No, we don't. No, you probably, I mean, they probably have it here in the kitchen or the pantry. Just
Okay.
basic saran wrap, nothing special. Yeah.
And then
And-
clamping and unclamping.
Yeah. So again, if you could visualize what he was talking about, he may have on his feeding tube that dangles, he may have a little white clamp that's already attached to his tube. It can't come off. Okay. He may or may not have it. If I had to guess, he probably doesn't have it. Okay. So what you're gonna do, if he does have it, that's better. Okay. So before opening the top of the feeding tube, right, you want to make sure that little device is clamped down, or you can kink it with your finger. His actual feeding tube, you can kink it. Okay. You want to do this because if you open up the top of his feeding tube and it's not clamped, or you're not cinching it with your finger, you could get some stomach content that flies back out. Okay, we don't want that. Right? It's pretty nasty stuff. I've seen it happen before. Okay? So you just want to make sure it's clamped, or you're cinching it with your finger. Like you're kinking a hose almost. It's exactly what you do with this feeding tube. Okay? If he doesn't have that pump. Have you guys seen a feeding tube before?
Yeah.
You have? It sounds like you have a little bit more experience than.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a resident who had a feeding tube. It was when I just started working here. I think I was with them for like a few days and then she passed on, so I don't have that much experience.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you guys all work with Amanda then? Yeah. I think I've worked with Amanda before. We've had a few patients on service with our company for tube feeds. She probably knows. I would bet Amanda probably knows how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else before we jump over to the next alarm?
No questions.
Okay. What was your name?
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Alright, the no food alarm, that's simple, right? Just tell you that it's done. This next one though is the one you have to watch out for. Okay? Let me show it to you. Sorry, I'm getting the floor a little bit messy. Pause that. I can't make out your accent too. Where are you from?
Take a wild guess.
I don't know, you sound English almost.
No, I'm not.
No?
No.
I don't know, where are you from?
Think Africa.
I don't know too many African countries. Yeah.
South Africa.
South Africa? Okay. Yeah, you sound almost like, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's like almost
Don't say
English.
Australian.
Yeah,
Because a lot of people say that,
Yes.
and I'm like, there's absolutely no way.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say like New Zealand, Australia, like that type of, that's a cool accent. Okay, we got it back on here. Now, since we have this empty space, we're gonna prime, okay? Just fun fact, any air from this point to the sensors, this pump won't allow you to run, okay? So that's why we're gonna, once it passes through here, what's that?
You have to hold it.
The prime? Yeah, yep. Once it passes through here, I'll just stop just for the sake of time and teaching. I don't think we want to see this all over again. Unless you want to. Yeah, I think we're good now. Hit run here. Okay. Now this one's the no flow alarm, okay? Now if you look here on the lid, it says in, and then it says out. So if you do see this, it's either gonna say no flow in, meaning the top of the line, or no flow out, meaning the bottom. Okay? Now, to start, it could be a kink. Okay? Now I'm gonna kink the top here. It's gonna beep at us, and it's gonna say no flow in. Right? Because I'm kinking the top here. Now, on the pole, you should never see no flow in. Okay? It's probably obvious. No flow out is the one that's more likely. Okay? Because maybe he's turned and he kinks the bottom half of the tubing, right? Unknowingly, you could get no flow out. Okay? But this is the one you have to watch out for, because if you are continually getting the no flow out alarm and you're looking at it and you're like, hey, there's no kink in here, what's going on? He could have a clog in his feeding tube. Okay? Which is what we don't want. Right? Whenever you go to do a flush, that plunger, I kid you not, maybe you know this, Cat, but that plunger should be this easy to move. Right? It should be this easy. If that plunger is very hard, very resistant, you know there's a clog in the feeding tube. Something's going on. Okay? Now, you see this phone number here? This is business hours, but it's also after hours. We have 24/7 technical support for your pump and 24/7 clinical support for you guys. Okay? Anything wrong with the pump, day or night, doesn't matter. You guys can always call this number. Our techs can come here day or night if we have to give you a new pump or to take a look at your the one you currently have. Right? The clinical, those are our nurses. They're just over the phone, but you can always talk to a nurse day or night if you're having any tubing type questions. Maybe his feeding tube's clogged, something doesn't look right. Call that number, talk to a nurse. Okay? But that's the no flow alarm. Really, it's probably going to be no flow out, could be a kink, or could be a clog in his feeding tube. Okay? Let me set this back to 83. And then we're done. Okay. That's a lot of information I just dumped on you. But I'm glad you recorded though.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna help.